Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to the Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. This is Pachter Factor Live. We're doing our special Friday kind of wrap up of news that happened during the week. If you are a patron, thank you so much for your patronage. If you have a YouTube subscription, we appreciate it. It keeps Shane in potato chips, and he's able to continue to produce these things. Whether you are a subscriber or not, you can link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. It's pretty simple to do. There are instructions in the show description right below. That will have Amazon pay Shane. I don't get paid, but Amazon pays and you don't. You're already paying for that as part of your Amazon Prime subscription. So if you link your Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime accounts, you have to redo that every month. So if you haven't done it since the last time you saw me, maybe try to remember to link it together. We appreciate it. We saw Sony's State of Play, and there were just no giant first-party games. I think everybody kind of hoped there would be. It's been a pretty thin release schedule from Sony for PlayStation for a while. We know that Sony is selling more PS5s than PS4s. This up 7%, and I'm sure that's right. Now, 7% isn't a gigantic number, this many years into the launch. Is 4 full years, but that's probably 5 million more. I mean, we're probably talking about 80 million versus 85 million or something like that. And I think a lot of it is that Microsoft's selling very few Xboxes. So I think that a lot of the drift away from Microsoft is being captured by Sony. I also think the market is expanding. I think you're getting more people as more and more people play either PC live service games or mobile. There's just a greater number of people interested in owning consoles. I am surprised that Sony's managed to have a record, holiday in light of no big first-party titles. And back in the day, if you wanted to play a game that was on multi-platform, so a Call of Duty or FIFA or Madden or GTA, you bought a console. But then the differentiation between the two consoles, if you weren't a super tech geek, was which one has the best first-party content. And so people would buy an Xbox if they prefer to play Halo and Forza and Gears of War and whatever, Fable. And people would buy a PlayStation if they preferred to play Uncharted and Last of Us and Death Stranding. And so Sony used to really do a great job with first party. They really haven't in the last year or so. And Microsoft has really pushed Game Pass. So I think you're getting share shift from Microsoft to Sony. I don't think the 7%, like I said, it's about 5 million. Microsoft's unit sales are down by 5 million. I'm certain, absolutely certain after 4 years. Microsoft is probably at 40 after 4 years last cycle, and they're probably at 20 right now. So they're probably down 20 and Sony's up 5. So net the console install base is down by about 50, and I bet that's right. And then the other factor is Nintendo just kind of keeps chugging along because essentially it's all Nintendo first party all the time. And Nintendo is able to penetrate households focused on the family, which means everybody, but lots and lots and lots of kids get a Switch. And when they want to upgrade and start playing Call of Duty or FIFA, that those games aren't on the Switch. So, again, I think that benefits Sony, and I think Sony's done a really good job of broadening its geographic reach. So, we'll see. I don't, like I said, I don't think Sony's going out of business. I don't think this console cycle is a disaster. I think it's appropriate if you spent $500 or $600 on a console to be upset that you haven't gotten any content that's compelling from first party for a while. I don't think it really makes much difference in the scheme of things. Sony's going to chug along. The first party titles are going to come. They just don't look like they're coming in 2025. So tough it out. You'll get plenty to do when GTA comes out. And the other thing about GTA is, everybody loves to just kind of get out of the way and run for the hills. They don't want to be in that path of GTA, steamroller coming at them. Let GTA launch. I'm really curious to see what EA does with Battlefield and Call of Duty is going to come out anyway. But I just don't know if everybody moves their release dates just to get away from it, and they might. So don't expect that you're going to see like Elder Scrolls 6 this year anytime soon, or ever maybe, or Fallout 5. Fallout 5, yeah, that would be the next. You had Strauss Zelnick on TV after Take-Two earnings. He makes the circuit of the finance shows, talking about how he thinks GTA is a system seller for Sony, and I agree. I think that no one's going to worry at Take-Two if there are 70 million or 120 million PlayStations, and the answer is somewhere in between. Sony's got to sell another 15 a year for the next few years anyway. GTA is as good a reason to buy it as any. Otherwise, you wait for it on PC or you buy it on an Xbox, and there aren't that many Xboxes out. But our math is that there's probably, round numbers, going to be about 100 million PlayStations and Xboxes out there by the time GTA launches, which will be November 20th, by the way. Rockstar loves the Friday before Thanksgiving. And GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas all came out on the Friday before Thanksgiving. GTA 4 was scheduled for the Friday before Thanksgiving, and it got delayed because the Xbox version was ready, but the PlayStation version wasn't. And Sony had a contractual clause that said that Take-Two couldn't release it on one platform if it didn't have it ready for all. So that got pushed to April, but it's planned for November, the Friday before Thanksgiving. Now, the difference for GTA 5 was that the PS4 and the Xbox One were both coming out in November of 2013. And they didn't want to have GTA 5 on old gen PS3, Xbox 360, and not available yet for next gen. So they pulled that forward to September of 2013. And if you remember, the first trailer in that game came out November 1st, 2011. So they really always planned that thing to be a fall 2012 release. I think they would have gone the Friday before Thanksgiving, but they didn't make it. And then they couldn't do the Friday before Thanksgiving in 2013 because that would have been the same time as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launch. So that's the one time they didn't do it, and by design. But again, I can explain those two. I'm just telling you, I know Sam Hauser, November 20th, mark your calendar. So Strauss made the rounds on the shows, and he said, even though they're disappointing PS5 sales, he knows that GTA will be a system seller. I agree. People are going to buy it on PC anyway. It's not coming out day and date on PC, but it's going to come eventually. I think the bigger test for Take-Two is going to be how they integrate GTA Online into GTA 6. And, if you think the extreme models are, you can have an online game that's multiplayer like GTA Online and have it completely separate from the single player game. And that's kind of how GTA Online has been. There hasn't been that much portability and crossover between the two. Or you can fully integrate them, and Call of Duty Warzone does that. So I think you're going to see some integration in GTA Online, and I don't think they care if they sell 50 million a year for 5 years or 200 million the first year. I don't think it makes any difference at all. I know Take-Two is smart enough to recognize this and act on it. I am very confident, even if they don't do exactly what I said, what they do is going to be well thought out and maximize profit and actually minimize friction for the consumer. So I'm pretty psyched. I like seeing Strauss on TV talking about how Take-Two's executing on a strategy and the stock's working, and it is. They make games based upon what they believe their customer wants, and they don't rush anything. They take their time and they try to understand what their constituents want. Now I'm going to shift over to EA. You started to hear that with EA with the Battlefield, I forget what they call Battlefield Labs, which is their, beta alpha test with, loyal fans. And I know Vince Zampella, and I know he is super competent. He wouldn't waste his time talking to, fans in Battlefield Labs if he didn't intend to incorporate the feedback. So I think that's a great idea from EA. But while Strauss was making the rounds, we had Andrew Wilson out there essentially saying single player is dead and Dragon Age Jailguard failed because single player is dead. and people just want multiplayer experiences. I think he's missing the point there. It's sometimes the same gamer and sometimes a different gamer. And, that's like saying, you can't have a mobile version of a game. Remember Diablo? You can't have a mobile version of a game because the core PC fan would be pissed. Well, the mobile version isn't for the core PC fan. The mobile version drives the core PC, new people to be core PC fans, but that's not why it's there. So I think that these CEOs should understand that they have intellectual property they can exploit across a bunch of different audiences. I don't like hearing Andrew Wilson saying, we're getting out of the single player game business, because I think that's a mistake. They are making a Black Panther and Iron Man game, so those are very likely going to be single player experiences. But single player is dwindling. The number of people who like to play that are fewer and fewer every year. The number of people who like to play free is growing every year. And somebody's going to figure out the right business model and make it work for the right IP and have the next big hit. I just haven't heard it announced yet for 2025. And I think Andrew it's fine with me if he says we choose to focus on the live service customer. That's fine. I think where Sony really screwed up is Sony took a game that competes with a bunch of live service games, Marvel Rivals type games, and in Concord, and tried to introduce a premium version and then layer on live service components. And that's really been Sony's strategy for the last several years, that they were going to add a live service component to premium games. That's how I started talking about GTA. GTA Online today is an add-on online live service component to GTA 5. GTA Online next year shouldn't be that. I don't think consoles are dead. I don't think single player games are dead. It's just like putting out a romantic comedy in the theaters now. It's not going to do $2 billion in box office. It's going to do 50 million. And so that's what happened to Dragon Age. I think you're going to get fewer and fewer and fewer of them. And, we all have our opinions about what works and what doesn't work. But I see a lot of, I don't know what you call them, but shooter games that are adventure shooter games, Helldivers, that every game looks like every other game to me. Now, you guys, please don't post here, oh my God, Helldivers is the best game ever. I'm sure it is. But it's really hard for games to stand out, and the idea that, what's the difference between Call of Duty and Battlefield? And please don't call me a noob and say I don't appreciate the nuances. The point is that, every game is derivative to some extent, and that's why the ones that aren't, the ones that are so innovative, are the ones that just thrive. So there are lots of dragon fighting games. I mean, there just are. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor Live. I'm fading rapidly because I was up late playing poker last night. If you are watching as a Patreon patron, thank you. You're getting it real time. If you're a YouTube subscriber, ditto, you're getting it real time. Thank you. We appreciate your patronage. Please remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There are instructions on how to do that in the show description below, and you have to redo it every month. If you do that, Shane gets paid. He can keep producing these things, and you can keep getting words of wisdom from yours truly whenever I have something wise to say. Again, thanks for joining us. We will see you on Pachter Factor Live next week.